that we're trying to answer is that is parity check an error detection and an error correction scheme? So is parity check able to detect errors, and is it also able to correct errors? Okay, so if you let me okay, right, so just imagine that this is the receiving computer, right, and this is the sending computer. Okay, so this would be the sending computer and this would be the receiving computer, and we are now going to take a look at the receiving side. Okay, because if an error detection has to be done, it has to be done at the receiving side, and if any error correction has to be done, now that you have detected the error and you want to correct the error, this also is going to be done at the receiving side. Okay, all right, so we're going to take a look at the activity on the receiving side. Let's assume that these two computers are following even parity. They are following even parity, so they agreed on even parity, right? Okay, and let's assume that the receiving computer received this byte. Okay, so in parity, basically in parity check, we are dealing with bytes. Every individual byte needs to be checked, right? So let's say this was the received byte. Yes, this was the received byte. Okay, uh, based on even parity, based on even parity, uh, what is the receiver going to do? The receiver is going to count the number of ones. So we have 3 ones. Okay, so that's an odd number of ones. Receiver detects an odd number of ones. An odd number of ones. Okay, so receiver can tell that there was a transmission error. So receiver is able to uh, identify that an error occurred. So an error occurred. Okay, all right, so the receiver can tell that an error occurred, right? But is the receiver able to identify, is the receiver able to know in any way which one of these bits got corrupted? Whether this bit got corrupted or this one got corrupted, or which one of these bits got corrupted? Is there any way that the receiver can tell? Unless the receiver knew what value was being sent by the sender, right? Unless the receiver knew the original value which was being sent from this side, there is no way that the receiver can tell which of the bits got corrupted, right? And so the receiver is not aware. The receiver is not sure as to what was the original data, what was the original byte. Okay, so the receiver is not aware of the original byte that was sent. Receiver only gets this byte. It checks whether this byte has an even parity. If it doesn't have an even parity, the receiver is able to determine that an error occurred, but there is no way that the receiver can tell which one of the bits got corrupted here. Okay, so the answer in short is that parity check can detect a transmission error but it cannot detect, I should not say detect, I should say it cannot correct the error, because it is not, if it doesn't know which bit got corrupted, how can it fix that bit, right? So it cannot correct the error. So therefore you can say that this is an error detection scheme. Parity check is an error detection scheme, but it is not an error correction scheme. So it cannot correct the error, right? It could only have corrected the error had it known which one of these bits got corrupted. But since it's not aware of which bit got corrupted during the way, during transmission, how can it fix the error?